Look around your living room right now. If you see particle board veneer, flat black handles on everything, or a matching bedroom suite, you are actively devaluing your home in 2026 because the shift has already happened. It is January 7, 2026, and the interior design world has just hit a massive breaking point. For the last decade, we accepted fast fashion principles in our homes, including cheap materials, quick trends, and disposable decor. Recent market reports from late 2025 confirm that the bubble has finally burst. We are seeing a hard pivot away from the Amazon aesthetic that dominated social media for years. The viral, grey floor era is officially dead, and the open-concept farmhouse look is being torn out of renovations across the country at record rates. This is happening right now because the housing market of 2026 demands authenticity. Buyers and renters are exhausted by spaces that feel like temporary college dorms or sterile dental offices. We are seeing a return to permanent design, with materials that age, textures that feel real, and layouts that prioritize comfort over camera angles. This concerns value rather than just taste. Real estate data from the past 6 months shows that homes staged with these outdated trends are sitting on the market longer than those embracing the new wave of warmth and character. If you are still buying flat-pack furniture or installing 5000K cool white bulbs, you are fighting a losing battle against a massive cultural shift. Everyone from high-end designers to budget-conscious TikTok creators is discussing the great degraying of 2026. It is a reaction to the digitization of our lives, since we want our physical spaces to feel grounded and human rather than like a pixelated render. The trends we are discussing today actively make your space look cheap, temporary, and poorly thought out. We will break down exactly what needs to go and how you fix it without gutting your entire house. Consider the biggest offender, which is the particle board trap. You know exactly the type of furniture I mean, since it arrives in 2 heavy cardboard boxes, smells like glue for 3 days, and has a paper-thin veneer that bubbles the second a cold drink sits on it. In 2026, this disposable decor is public enemy number 1. The issue is that it lacks visual weight in addition to falling apart. When you fill a room with these lightweight, synthetic pieces, the entire space feels untethered and flimsy, which screams temporary housing. Recent manufacturing reports show a sharp decline in sales for these ultra-cheap laminate pieces as consumers wake up to the waste. A bookshelf shouldn't wobble when you walk past it, and a coffee table shouldn't peel after 6 months. If your furniture feels like a prop from a stage set, it brings down the perceived value of everything else in the room. Even expensive artwork looks cheap, hanging above a console table that is clearly made of compressed sawdust and plastic. The alternative when you are on a budget is the high-low mix, which stands as the single biggest design hack of 2026. Instead of buying everything brand new and mediocre, you need to hunt for brown furniture, like solid wood pieces from the 80s, 90s, or even earlier. Facebook Marketplace and local thrift stores are gold mines right now because people are practically giving away heavy, solid oak and mahogany pieces. The trick lies in mixing. You take a vintage, solid wood side table with real grain and history and place it next to a modern, clean-lined sofa to create instant luxury. Real wood adds texture and warmth that paper veneer can never replicate, which grounds the room. One high-quality vintage piece makes the cheaper modern items look intentional rather than desperate. It signals that you curated the space over time, rather than clicking Add to Cart on an entire room set in one afternoon. Next, we must address the grey plague. If your floors are grey vinyl plank, your walls are repose grey, and your rug is a grey geometric print, you are living in a 2016 time capsule. This look was sold to us as clean and modern, but in 2026, it reads as sterile flip house. It feels commercial, like a waiting room or a builder-grade spec home where no one actually lives. The lack of warmth makes the space feel two-dimensional and flat. Designers are calling this the millennial grey hangover, and the cure is painful but necessary. Grey floors are particularly difficult because they cast a cold, dead light onto everything else. They suck the life out of wood tones and make warm colors look muddy. If you are stuck with them, you can't just ignore them because you have to actively fight the chill. Tell me which of these trends you are currently fighting in your own home. Drop a comment below with "guilty" if you still have that matching bedroom set. To stay ahead of the 2026 curve, hit that subscribe button since we track these shifts in real time so you don't waste money on outdated decor. You can fix the grey box without ripping out your floors by embracing the warm neutrals trend of 2026. Think taupe, mushroom, cream, and beige, as these colors have yellow or red undertones that breathe life back into a room. If you have those cold grey floors, you need to cover them with large, warm-toned rugs like jute, wool, or sisal in natural colors to act as a buffer. Then, look at your walls, where we are seeing a massive surge in color drenching. This is where you paint the baseboards, the trim, the walls, and sometimes even the ceiling, all the same warm color. It blurs the harsh lines of a room and makes it feel like a cozy, custom envelope. It stops the eye from catching on cheap white plastic trim and makes standard height ceilings feel soaring. A rich greige paint job can instantly modernize a dated gray room by bridging the gap between cool and warm tones. Nothing says, "I gave up," quite like the matching furniture set. You walk into a bedroom and see the bed frame, the nightstands, and the dresser all made of the exact same wood, with the exact same handles from the exact same collection. It looks like page 4 of a catalog, and in 2026, this lack of imagination is a major design crime because it creates a flat, one-dimensional look that lacks personality. We call this the showroom syndrome. Real homes are collected rather than ordered. The fix here is the cousin rule, where your furniture should be related by sharing a similar vibe or era without being identical twins. If you have a heavy upholstered bed, swap out the matching nightstands for metal or stone ones. If your dining table is wood, get leather or velvet chairs. That friction between materials like wood against metal or fabric against stone is what creates visual interest. Break up the set by selling the nightstands and keeping the bed to mix it up. Gallery walls had a huge moment, but they have morphed into something messy. The trend of putting up 15 tiny, cheap frames filled with generic filler art is over because it creates massive visual clutter. When you look at a wall covered in small, disjointed items, your brain reads it as chaos, and it often signals that you couldn't commit to or afford one substantial piece of art. The 2026 move is go big or go home. since one large, oversized canvas or a framed print commands authority. It anchors the room in a way that a scattering of postcards never can. You don't need a trust fund for this. Buy a high-resolution digital download from an artist on Etsy, get it printed as an engineering print at a copy shop for a few dollars, and frame it in a simple, large poster frame. A single 24 by 36 piece looks infinitely more expensive than a dozen 5 by 7s. For a while, the advice was to spray paint everything matte black. We saw it on faucets, door handles, hinges, and cabinet pulls. As we hit 2026, the flat black overload is officially looking dated and reads as a harsh 2020 renovation. Flat black absorbs light and creates dead spots in the room, and the finish often chips or shows oily fingerprints that are impossible to clean. The new standard is living metals, such as unlacquered brass, polished nickel, or oil-rubbed bronze. These materials reflect light and add a jewelry-like quality to the room that feels substantial and permanent. You don't have to replace every single hinge, but start with the touch points by swapping your kitchen cabinet pulls to a warm brass. Mix your metals, as it is perfectly fine to have a black faucet paired with brass hardware. That mix shows intention and design layering, whereas matching everything to flat black just looks like you bought a contractor pack. The most major error is relying on the big light. Relying on a single overhead flush mount fixture is the quickest way to kill the vibe of any room. It casts unflattering shadows, flattens your expensive furniture, and creates a hospital atmosphere, especially if you are using those awful 5000K daylight bulbs. There is absolutely no reason to have 5000K bulbs in a residential home unless you are performing surgery in the kitchen. The 2026 rule is strict regarding light layering. You need 3 sources of light in every room that aren't on the ceiling, such as a floor lamp, a table lamp, and perhaps a wall sconce. The bulbs must be 2700K to 3000K. That warm, amber glow is the secret to why hotel rooms feel expensive, because it blurs imperfections and makes everything and everyone look better. Turn off the big light and never turn it on again, opting to use your lamps instead. What we are seeing in 2026 is a fundamental shift in how we value our homes. We are moving away from the fast food version of interior design, quick, cheap, and identical to everyone else's, toward a slow food approach. It is about ingredients, texture, and patience. This matters because your home is your primary environment. A space filled with cheap, wobbly furniture and harsh lighting creates a low-level background stress that you might not even notice until it's gone. By swapping out these cheap indicators for items with weight, history, and warmth, you aren't just following a trend, you are building a sanctuary. The market is rewarding this, since homes that feel curated and solid are selling faster than the grey-washed flips of the last decade. You don't have to change everything overnight. Start with the lighting, as it is the cheapest fix with the highest impact. Then, hunt for that one solid wood piece to anchor your living room, and slowly replace the flat, black hardware. Over the next year, you will feel the difference, as your home will stop feeling like a temporary stopgap and start feeling like a destination. The era of the grey, disposable, flat-pack home is over. 2026 is about weight, warmth, and character. Pick one thing from this list to change this weekend. starting with those light bulbs, and watch your entire home transform. See you in the next one.